My name is Olurode, a retired professor of sociology from the University of Lagos, where I had rendered diverse services as a teacher, as a head of the department, and as a former dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences. At the national level, I had been a national commissioner with the Independent National Electoral Commission between the year 2010 and 2015. I've since retired from the University of Lagos, and I still write. I still get engaged in non-governmental organizations, and I try to pay back to society that have given me so much opportunity in my active life. Well, let me preface my contributions in this regard with certain givens about general electoral environment in Nigeria. Number one is the behavior of both an average politician in this country and the behavior of an average elector. The mindset seems not to be compatible with democratization forces. They approach the issue that I must win at all, my candidate must win at all. This in the process, which does not give them to any probability, rather a certainty. So election, therefore, is a science. At the same time, you have to blend that scientific component with its creative nature. You already have a procedure, you go to the field, things change responding to the environment that has changed. INEC has defined transmit results electronically. But that is not to say that there have been too ambitious technology into the electoral process. My engagement with the media, I've cautioned that there have been too much technology introduced into 2023 election, that we should have gone piecemeal, not wholesale technology. Technology can fail. It does in some instances. And that is why you cannot but still make sure that you give room to some human intervention. You cannot completely eliminate human intervention in the electoral process. What's got to give to INEC on all fronts, in terms of its logistics for the election, in terms of technology, in terms of transparency of the election, hopefully. In logistics, of course, there are some hiccups. And you know why? We have challenged the Naira crisis. They like to monetize. And I think the federal government in its wisdom, which somehow some interpreted as each deployment of money in the election in the past, somehow it's a cleaner election in the sense that in 2011, INEC had introduced not do accreditation, but it does verification at the same time it does accreditation, which sort of was expected to have eliminated ghost voters. So if you are not accredited, you cannot go there to vote. But we still discovered that some people managed not to get accredited and they were able to exercise. But you couldn't have known the extent of this except for the introduction of BVAS technology. So, and when you look at the margin of defeat between the winner and the runner-up, you discover that it was not as huge as in 2011. In 2011, Jonathan defeated Buhari by 10 million votes. In 2015, maybe about 5 or 4 or 3 million or so. In the last election, the February 25 election, the president-elect of APC defeated the runner-up, that is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, by just about 1.8 or thereabout million, less than 2 million. It was the most competitive election that Nigeria has had in recent times. So I think on all this, I would say that INEC should be given between 65 to 70%. When you rate, you look at the key issues, security of the electoral process, there are attacks on INEC side, which is why in the nearest future, INEC should either using OC technology into the electoral workings of BVAS. If it had failed, consistently in an opposition area, let's say in an area where the Labour Party was dominant in the southeast, we probably, the country could have been engulfed. So I believe February 25 election, the presidential and National Assembly election, and I'm sure INEC should go, the outing of Saturday, that's March 18, should be far better than what we had on February 15. So overall, I think we are not doing badly with our democratization effort. We can't get there in a day. It takes time, but I will be urging people to be more resilient. Let's be more resilient. Let the threshold of politicians be better than it used to be, so that we can make, there's no other way to develop a country other than to allow people to have a voice in how they are governed, in order to allow them to make decisions. And when you look at voter, wasted vote in this election was just about 1%, whereas in the 2019 election, we recorded about 2.6 or 2.7 wasted votes. That's people not, because of voter education, they didn't print the right way, and their votes therefore were rejected. Of course, in terms of voter turnout, it was not that good. It wasn't that good compared to previous elections. 2015, 2019, I think we had a voter turnout of about 2/5 or so, about 40%. But in this election, you recorded just about 20-something percent. So, but that also was because the register for the election is yet to be completely sanitized. There were ghost names. I believe I see ghost names in the register. There are people that have died that have not been removed from the register. So these are issues that INEC should now try to look into between 2023 and 20 doing badly with regards to the last February 25th election. There cannot be hiccups with election. There cannot be skirmishes with election. Look at the population of the country. Look at the register of voters. You have 170, more than 170 and Labour Party and unknown party territories and surprising inroads. And look at Plateau. Look at some others. Look at Nassau and a few other places. The Labour Party, which was unknown, had only won election in just one quarter in 12 states of the Federation. That was quite a good spread for it. But at the same time, whereas other states opened up to open up at all, looking at for other parties were like ground zero. And there's in the March 18 election of governorship and houses of assembly. You look at the statistics, the electoral statistics. All I would say is that, let me just give, as a background to that, let me give you some statistics, some electoral statistics. Maybe that will give a base from which we can now do a general assessment. On voter turnout, I told you before that is the presidency, the Labour Party scored 93% of all accredited voters in Abia State. It scored 93% in Abia State. In Anambra, Labour Party scored 93%. APC scored just all the other political parties. They had lower figures than that of Labour. Look at the figure for Lagos State, where for the first time in history, over 1 million on the voter register. When you look at the side of being low, because sanitized, there register. My father died in 2013. Their locations as at the time of registry. Many people had migrated out of the country. Many universities think when you look at the parties with respect to having party agents across the polling units in the country, they didn't have, most of them didn't have, you are not able to mobilize the required resources to put people at polling units. And some of them actually perhaps were funded by the big political parties to use them to exert their hegemony, to say that they are collapsing into them, they've adopted them as their candidate. I don't think most of the parties that I would say are out there, the Southwest. And why? Because of the draconian political party leadership in that part of the country. Look at the New Nigerian People's Party in Kano State. It's got over 52% of the total votes in Kano State. It's a new party. And that shows you that Kwankwaso is on ground. That's not an outrageous result. That's an expected result. So I think the smaller parties need to do more work. And what do I mean by more work? I would be more happy if they can concentrate on winning local elections. You know, if they win local elections, then from there they can go to the state, and from there they can spread and try to see how they can muster enough political strength, you know, in a state and network among themselves. Or where areas where they know they are not strong, you know, they need to collapse their structures. You know, it's not easy to fund political. That's why big men will continue to dominate. You know, you see oligarchy, see political parties. The parties are oligarchically organized. This like the Pareto rule of the power ruled by the elites. Because the elites are well organized, and I don't think they should dream big, wanting to start from the top. If I were one of the organizers of those parties, I would consider, look at some of the Green Party in Germany. They would just focus on an issue, environmental issue or whatever, and then concentrate their power, their resources within the locality and convince the people. And from there, it's like an island, then they spread out. Well, you need resources, except we change the requirements of how people can emerge as winners. You know, who will have the fund to provide for candidates. You know, you look at one quarter of in 2/3 of the state of the federation, Abuja inclusive, is not an easy challenge. It requires money everywhere in the world of money, and only those that have the money, either through corrupt enrichment or through whatever. I don't want to waste my vote. Why vote for these parties? You can make your presence known, and then we emerge, and then you can begin to change. I agree with them. We should not lead to just the big parties or big men in society. But we need to pull resources together in order to be able to make a powerful intervention that will be enduring. I think for parties and candidates that hope to change the outcomes of March 18 election, it's not too late for them to collapse their structures so that they can make a very formidable presence. Look, since 1999, the plight of the African Nigerian in terms of key indicators of development, poverty has become more excruciating. There's no security in the land. There's unemployment. The youth are hungry. There's no doubt about that. And that their voice was loud in the February 25 election. You should begin to strategize to do. Look, when CPC in 2013, together with Action for Democracy or Alliance for Democracy of the Yoruba, they had to do a merger. That's a major revolution that has changed the pattern of election outcome in this country. If those other parties are serious too, they should be thinking of how can we form. If you want to, you have to be stronger than your opponent in order to defeat your opponent. There will be money, because if you outsource the matter to the court will rule. It's going to cost a lot of money. I'm not saying we should not look towards the court, but it's not the best. Because you are asking fewer people to advocate for you. You are outsourcing your primary responsibility. And it's not good for our elections to be asking their justices to decide for the majority of Nigeria. We have about 90-something million voters. So let's say even we have 50, you know, it's better to take the ball by the horn. Let us show that we can take, we are not happy what is going on, but we are not doing politically, we're not politically correct. We should do that which will make us to have the kind of country that we want to have. I believe this is the time that youth, they have more presence in the register than in the past. Almost more than 50% in the register. People that are 30 and below, but it's not showing the outcome. You're still likely to return these old guys to the National Assembly. They still need to decide your fortune. They have been governor, they have been everything before. So when will the time of the new breed, when will their time come? No, they've learned enough under them. And I would want to caution that the president-elect should, as much as possible, in recruiting people to governance, should look for people in their who have all the energy. That's number one. Number two, there cannot be a better time to rethink the structure of the country than now. Otherwise, I concede the first 4 years to the president-elect, another 4 years, put everything in place, and the country, the fortunes of the electoral change in this country. You do it for 8 years. After 8 years, what happens again? You are back to the status quo. So in order not to return to that, we need to revisit the 2014 Constitutional Conference report. APC also set up a committee under the chairmanship of Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State. That you need to revisit that. You don't need to set up new bodies to look at the cries across the country is that there's a need. And from the voter behavior of the last election, there's no doubt that the Southeast is pained. The Southeast is not happy. The youth of this country, they are not happy about the state of things politically and economically. And in order to accommodate them, we need to rethink the country. We need to embark on a fundamental reform to return power to the regions in this country. Otherwise, we are not making any progress at all. No, in terms of substantial development of the country. And people believe that there cannot be a better time than now. The president-elect is an advocate of change. He's an advocate. He himself had to take the federal government to court under Obasanjo to do what? To have his local government, the seized local government fund, returned to Lagos State. He didn't get that under President Obasanjo until it got to the Supreme Court. So we now that he is the president, he is the president-elect, he cannot be taking government to court again. Let us do that. We will not return us to the dark ages. We've had enough, and we've experimented with regional autonomy before. We see what wonders it can do. The North alone, the North Central, the Northeast, the Northwest can feed this country. There's no region in the country that is not blessed with abundant resources, that is not endowed with abundant resources to transform the region. Let us think less of the center in governance. Let's decentralize. Without decentralization, without reform, we are not going to make any progress in this country. There is chaos in the land, and you're since the 1960s. Everything to change. Once the new government is sworn in, he already had his job defined for him. And there will be no rest in this country until we return to make sure that we do not allow everybody need not be in Abuja to govern.